Hey, it's JD here, and I'm with my pal Sara J. How are you doing, dude?
I'm great. I'm so great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I gotta
Good.
be honest with you. I'm having a good frickin' day.
Good. I noticed you didn't change your picture in the intro yet.
Oh shoot. Yeah. I want to change it to the cartoon picture. Thanks for reminding me. We didn't talk this week, so it's like, I didn't get the reminders.
For sure. For sure.
So, how are things in the world of the tragically hip in your neck of the woods?
Uh, Good. I've been working on my Buffalo shows.
Oh, talk to me about that.
It's been so wonderful. And I'm so happy that a new show from O2 just popped up there. So that's actually the one I downloaded this morning. I'm going to listen to um, probably tonight and tomorrow. I'll work on that. So yeah, I went through, for anybody who doesn't know, I went through and I found all the times that they played in Buffalo, including Art Park, which is technically Lewiston, but it's Buffalo. Um, Made a list and I've been downloading the shows from the Hip Archive and then I'll listen to them and I make notes and it's been a lot of fun to go through and just listen to everything, and the Buffalo crowd is just really awesome to listen to.
Oh, that's
It
great.
really
So,
is.
if you, how many of you listened to at this point? How many have you got through?
Um, I've listened to about 12 shows so far.
Jeez.
Yeah. I
So,
still have, I think, 14 to go.
oh my God.
Yeah.
And how much time are you spending with each one?
I'll just listen to it through it once. Yesterday, I actually got through 2 shows. Yesterday was, like, a good day where I just, like, had them on all day, and I make
Nice.
notes, and I mean, I will go back in a song if there's something I'm like, "Wait a minute," or because I'm downloading them, sometimes I need to, like, go back and listen and double check because of the way they're, like, downloaded, but usually I
Gotcha.
just give the full show just one listen through and make my notes. So I have a bunch of notes everywhere for every year and, fun little things to come back to for numerous reasons. I don't know why we might need to come back, so
Tim just commented that it's nice going back to old shows, shows you've been to, shows you haven't been to. Now, I've only been to one show in Buffalo, and that was the last show of the Fully Completely tour. What of the shows, which of the shows that you've listened to so far right now would you recommend people listen to, or particularly, I'm being selfish here, me? What should I
okay.
listen to tomorrow?
So my 2 favorite shows out of all the ones I've listened to so far are June 5th, 2009 and June 6th, 2009. Because they did 4 nights here. So they did June 2nd, June 4th, June 5th, and then June 6th in 2009. They
Repeat
did a
that?
whole
They
yeah,
did that many nights?
yeah.
Which place?
At Art Park in Lewiston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that the show on the 5th and the show on the 6th are 2 of
From
my
the
favorites.
same set, from the same cluster.
Run. Yeah, from the same run
Right.
for sure. Those are my favorite, like, I think it's just my favorite all around, like, Gord's voice is just really strong, like, especially on the last night of that 4-night run, like, it's pretty amazing how great his voice sounds after
Oh
doing
my
all those
God.
shows, like, he just sounds so the band sounds really good and tight, like, the crowd's amazing, so those 2 shows particularly, I would pick to start. So yeah,
Okay, you're gonna have to text them to me
I will.
offline, or
I
you can
will.
put it in the chat. There's some stuff going on in the chat right now with the Mint Green Bird. Mint Green Bird was at all four of those shows that you're talking about in Lewiston. Wondering if you
Oh,
guys can swap stories.
oh, Lucky. Those I'm excited to listen to the other two. I don't know if the audio is up, but the show I'm going to work on next is June 13th, 2002.
Oh, that's my dad's birthday.
Aw, I love that. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm working on. Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big project.
Yeah. Well, I'm always
14
working
more
on all sorts
shows.
of things, but huh?
Yeah, I can't wait to see the outcome of this. What is the outcome? Like, what has she got going on up there? I can see wheels turning for sure. But what is going on exactly?
All these notes and
Yeah,
ideas and thoughts are going to come into something really awesome. I'm excited to share it with everybody.
cool.
So stay
Hey,
tuned.
stay tuned in fucking deed. I am working away at the top 40.
There was a new
Earlier,
episode this week.
there
Who
was a new
listened?
episode this week, and it was Devin
I
from
did.
Stouffville was our guest, and she shared a few stories. The audio, I apologize for the audio. The audio wasn't as good as possible, but I felt like I was going to use it because I thought uh, her story shone through, right? And I didn't want to re-record it and have it be inauthentic. So
100%. I was going to actually just say that. It was just her story was just awesome. You got to
yeah,
listen.
there's been some good ones. It's been
Yeah.
a lot of fun. And earlier this week, I got to sit down with Hoxley Workman. That was really like, it's fucking cool to sit down with Joe Blow. Don't get me wrong. Joe Blow hip fan,
Yeah,
you're the fucking coolest.
for sure.
Hoxley happened to be somebody who um he sang my wedding song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hold on, I'm just replying to Jeff. Jeff, if you're out there, you're going to get this email. No, that's not the one I want to send you. Sorry, guys. Hold, please. Hold, please. Oh, my goodness
Momentarily.
gracious. Here you go, Jeff. Sent. Kablamo. Kablamo. Join us around the table, my friend. And thank you so much for your very generous membership donation. That was lovely of you. So there's that. Yeah, Hoxley, sitting with Hoxley was cool. But just hearing somebody else that is a singer songwriter and hearing his admiration, specifically, I don't want to give too much away, but specifically for Gord, he had a relationship with Gord, and we talk about that, and he likes the whole band, of course, but again, he had a relationship with Gord, and then he's got a lovely version of Emperor Penguin, which is just if you it was on the Strombo top 30, and if you want to give that a listen, do so. And there's plenty of other songs on that too. So yeah.
Nice.
If
Nice.
you are joining us in the chat right now, we're just catching up with what we've been up to this week. But what we're going to shift gears now and talk about is what is the current tragically hip Holy Grail song? What is it? I went out on a limb and said if there's a complete version of that Rush song, Spirit of Radio, no, Limelight.
Limelight. Yep.
Yeah. If there's a complete version of that, then to me that's the Holy Grail song. But my
I
hopes were dashed. My hopes were dashed this week by John Mitchell when he said, "Hey man," that's not what John Mitchell said. I'm just going to finish this story, Jeff.
Yes.
When John Mitchell said that he had talked to Billy Ray, and that's why I asked you about talking to Billy Ray. He had talked to Billy Ray, who was in the room when they recorded it, and they did not record a full version.
That's
Just
disappointing to hear.
Fucking drag.
Yeah, that's disappointing to hear.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just play the clip on fast forward or rewind forever and ever then.
That's
Just
right.
rewind, just put it on repeat, mate.
Jeff, if you're just joining us, so we're just getting into the Grail talk right now.
Yes, the Grail talk. Love it. Yeah, I
So you
saw
know,
that.
I was
Yeah,
I was just saying how my hopes were dashed earlier this week that it's not Limelight. So what would it be for you? And in the chat, what would it be for you?
yeah. Um, so I was putting some thought into this one. I think my number one is Blonde Solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I,
Cuz it's
I mean,
pretty. Do you have a bootleg?
I yeah, I do. It's funny. I've recently dusted off my bootleg
Oh.
collection, and gone through it all. I'm missing that track, but growing up, I made a ton of copies for my good buddies. And I reached out to one the other day and said, this is really depleted. How's yours looking? And his looks pretty solid, so he's going to get it to me in the near future, which is great because I've been converting them to MP3, or I guess WAV files, and getting them to
Okay.
Darren to put on the archive.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a few that he didn't have. He's got so many. But I no longer have the one that had Blonde Solid on it, so hopefully I'll have it back again.
I've got it. If you want, I can send you an AAC file of it if you want.
So I actually grabbed a WAV or an MP3 the other day, and
Oh,
it's
okay,
the
gotcha.
exact same. Yeah, it's the exact. I just like the tapes for keepsake, they're like
Oh, of
little
course.
trophies and
Yeah.
stuff like that from the years. So, but yeah, I think it's just a wicked track, and how it's never made it to an album, I don't know. But that being said, they've got a lot of tunes like that. I think when I commented on, well, I put Blonde Solid, and I think I also added If You Lived Here was another track I really like. But Times Are Passing Us By is also another beauty. So, yeah,
Yeah.
number one, though, I think is Blonde Solid. I'm rambling.
So what's strange is they've sort of exhausted now road apples and up to here. So to me that means we're not going to see those songs because Blonde Solid was road apples, wasn't it?
Uh,
Era.
Something, when I think you're right. I think it was like 92, 93 when I collected these bootlegs in that little area within a couple of years. And I had a bootleg called Outtakes. It didn't say Road Apples are up to here. And I'm thinking I got it because Road Apples. Anyway, I think the date I acquired it was just after Road Apples had come out, and all it said was Outtakes. So I don't know if they were Up to Here Outtakes or Road Apples Outtakes. However, that being said, there's still a lot of tracks, a handful of tracks that have not been released. I know some came out on Saskadelphia, and they've put some out on their deluxe editions of the re-releases. But there's still multiple tracks from that era that have not seen the light of day, and they're damn good.
I just
Like
I just
Walt. Sorry.
I just wonder if there's just not good enough versions of them. They just because they talked about finding X number of tapes, but I don't
Yeah.
think it was the complete collection of tapes, was it?
You mean after the fires or the
Well,
fire? Is it
when they thought that they lost it in the fire, but then they found it, they
right?
talked about it when maybe we talked about it on the podcast when Johnny was going through tracks for Road Apples. Shit. I forget. When he was going through
Well, I,
tracks for Road Apples, he mentioned there were a couple tapes missing, right? And that's one of the
okay.
reasons why in Saskadelphia it's a live version of Montreal because they didn't have a full band version of it,
Right.
which I have. I have a full
Interesting.
band version of it. It's a studio
Same, and it's
version.
better,
Or
right? I think I have the same one, probably.
I think so. It sounds like shit, but it's like it's great.
There's a lot of hissing, but so one of the things I noticed when Saskadelphia came out is that outtakes album that I or bootleg that I mentioned. Um, Two of the tracks, not necessarily in Montreal, It was actually called Mother's Milk on the bootleg that I got. Montreal was. Anyway, those two songs were on the bootleg, and I actually liked those versions than the Saskadelphia version because there were some timing differences. I noticed that not necessary. The drums are a little faster and the vocals are slightly faster. And then
Oh,
with Montreal, the drums are faster, but the vocals are a touch slower. Which whatever. I'm sure they're taking them from different nights. You're not going to play. I guess maybe I'm not a musician, but maybe you don't play the perfect tempo, from night to night to night. But when I listened to the Saskadelphia versions of those two songs, I liked them less than those ones that I originally started listening to, probably because that's what I listened to. Like, I had on my bike to class every day, put in my Sony Walkman and press play on that bootleg and just rocking those music. That's those songs. That's what I knew. So then I get a different version. I'm like, yeah, it's just not the same, man. So, but yeah, maybe that's what it is, Jamie. Maybe it's they don't have the tapes with those original tracks that they could use to release these songs that we're talking about that haven't been released because I can't think of a good losing an earpiece. I can't think of a good reason
me
because some of
neither.
those songs were phenomenal, are
Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah. What do you do? But yeah, my vote. Like I don't know if I said already. Waltz for Juliet was also a phenomenal
Waltz
unreleased
for
track.
Julia. Oh my God, I haven't thought about that song in probably 20 years.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
shit.
great. Yeah, yeah. Um, One of my good buddies that I grew up with, we were that's where we became hip fans was growing up together in our high school crew, and the guy who actually introduced us to the hip, it was his older brother who kind of said you should check this band out and gave him Road Apples. So that was the introduction. But the other day he sent me a link to one of Mojo Pa's demo versions of the hip, like for the
Yeah.
people who don't know what that is, Mojo Pa is a guy who has a YouTube channel. I'm not tech savvy. Correct me if I'm getting the words and terms wrong. But I think he's got a YouTube channel with all kinds of different bands and stuff. But he's got a ton of amazing hit material. And one of the things that my buddy sent me was it's called the Greer demo, and it's a whack of old tracks, I believe, from the Up to Here and Road Apples era, maybe even a bit before. And there's a few songs that are on the album, but then there's a whack of songs that are uh, unreleased. And Waltz for Juliet's on that list. I believe Bon Solid's also on that list.
Fuck.
But yeah, it's right there. I haven't had a chance to explore Mojo Pa's stuff completely yet, but from what I've seen from the tidbits my buddy has sent me, like he's got a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. His name is John Mitchell.
Okay.
And his channel is Mojo Pa. You got all that stuff right. I just wanted to say his real name because if you see him in a Facebook group ever, he's listed
Yeah.
as John Mitchell, and you can say hey and shout him out because
Yes.
he's great.
Oh yeah. Deserves a shout out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you thinking over
Yeah.
there, Sarah J?
I'm just listening. I like listening to what Jeff has to say.
Taking it all in.
I am. I'm taking it all in. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
just brought
when
up Waltz for Juliet. Now I'm, god
it's in
damn,
your head, right?
it's in my head. What's the song too that's West Ahead yesterday? I'm just kicking up some dust. He said, "Patience ain't a virtue, baby. Patience is a
Patience
must."
isn't much. Um, if you live, if you lived here, you'd be home by now.
It's been released though, right?
I'll write you a good long letter, find you at your worst. No, I don't know if that one's been released unless it's on Saskadelphia. I'm just the lyrics are going through my head, and I'm just not placing the title.
Google
Yeah.
is your friend.
I again, I'm not so techno savvy. If I was at a computer, maybe I could figure out how to do split screens, but I'm staring through spectacles at my phone here in my truck. I just dropped my kid off for hockey, so um,
If you're in the chat and you happen to know the title of that song that we just said
The amount
lyrics
of
for,
times that I Google a just random song lyrics is so embarrassing, and half the time Google's like, "What are you even asking me right now?"
yeah.
I'm like, "I know it
Um,
though."
so that version that you were just singing there, Jamie, or reciting the lyrics to, is that a live version?
yes, it was in the middle
Okay,
of
so
something.
right, the version that
100th birthday,
I
maybe.
have is on that outtakes bootleg. It's a clean version where it's not in the middle of a song. That's why when you
Oh,
started talking about the West, I'm like, I haven't heard this part. But then as you got into the lyrics of the song, I'm like, I know this tune. Yeah.
yeah.
Am I talking
Uh,
loud? Just out of
no, you're fine.
curiosity.
You're coming
Okay.
through.
Okay.
You're coming through just great. Zangit in the chat says Nuclear Barbecue was on the Greer demos as well.
It
Great
is. That's
tune.
correct.
I don't know
Yeah.
that one at all.
Yeah.
Where would I find
I
it?
did listen to it when my buddy sent it, but it's cool to have new tunes. But I don't remember it being one of those ones like Blonde Solid, Times Are Passing Us By, Waltz for Juliet, Montreal, but a good tune nonetheless. Nuclear Barbecue, yeah. I think there's like 12 tracks on it. It's good.
Huh. I gotta track
Yeah,
that down.
Add it
totally.
to the list of all the things I'm listening to.
Right? So
How do you
sorry.
compartmentalize it?
What?
Yeah.
Do you compartmentalize it? Like, do you like go, okay, I'm listening to Buffalo today, but I'm going to put in 4 hours and then I'm going to listen to the stuff that Jeff was talking about?
For sure. Yeah. Well, and I had to do that when I was working on my top 20, and then we were working on other stuff like simultaneously. So, yeah, I'm used to having to listen and do different projects like that at the same time. So,
Sarah, I was curious. I might have missed like the very first 5 minutes of the Buffalo talk, but I got the gist that you're going back and you're listening to every single Buffalo show that they play. Do I take it you're a Buffalo girl and you're making notes on them? So to what end? I'm curious.
I'm I'm not ready to reveal the answer to that yet.
All right,
Love
which
it.
one?
Love
If
it.
you're a Buffalo girl, or to what end?
Well, I live in Buffalo. I'm
Okay.
based out of Buffalo. So yeah, I mean that's where the reasoning for it is, and it's been really interesting to um not only go back and listen to the shows, but then start to dive into the band's history here and the
Yeah.
fan base here and all of that. So that's been really fun.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like opened a whole bunch of other like rabbit holes and things to go
Yeah.
down. But
Pandora's Box. Buffalo is a huge hip hop bed outside of Canada. Yeah.
totally, 100%. So, oh yay! I've been saying I'm like I need to find hip fans in Buffalo. I'm like, where are you guys? I hear you guys on the shows, and I know you guys are here. Like I can't find you. Where are you? So I need to
Yeah.
I need to find some.
Nice.
But something very cool is coming from me listening to all of these shows and making all the notes. So
Fantastic.
yes, stay
I
tuned.
like it. Looking forward to it.
Salamanca, like the criminal cartel in Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay, that's cool to know. Yeah, there's an interesting like kind of radius too of like how far from Buffalo proper you want to go with shows too. So I might actually add that one to the list too.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, it's in like
What were
when
you
you start
guys?
to see the radius of it. So
What were you responding to? I heard you say, "Oh yay, Buffalo fans," and then Jamie said, What was it you said, Jamie? The name of a town?
he was
Oh,
talking
so
about the show in at a casino in Salamanca, which is like
Salamanca.
south of this city.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a
Okay.
chat going on as well, Jeff. There's like a live
Oh,
chat
okay.
going on. So people are chatting, and that was from Mint Green Bird. Mint Green Bird is from Buffalo as well. And then he
Okay.
gave
Okay.
Sara J the tip that she should look up that show.
I'm gonna write
Now,
this down so I don't forget it.
Now, is the chat popping up on my screen, or are my eyes just not good enough to see it, or is that
I don't.
something separate you guys have on there?
I'm not sure. You should be able to. You should have something. I'm not sure if you're on your iPhone or a tablet.
I'm on my iPhone. Yeah.
So there should be a button that says comments, and you should be able to push it to activate a
Oh, I
sidebar that
see a
will open
chat
up,
there.
and then you'll
Sorry, I'm
see
a
the
total
chat.
loser with this stuff. You guys are like, oh my god, guy, get it together.
No shit, no.
No, it's
Okay.
great. It's great.
Oh, am I
My
still in it?
podcast server is coal powered, so I go outside every day and have to shovel some coal into it. And
Yeah, I
full
love it.
start,
You too?
It was a full start.
So what
Oh
else
god.
are we going to talk about hipwise today? Anybody in the chat want to talk about anything specific? Any of you have? There's 5 people looking on. I'm wondering if we could talk more about Grail songs. Waltz for Juliet just came up, and that's one that I would like to just listen to if we can, if you guys want to, if I can find it
Sure.
really quick, because it's
Yeah.
just a fucking great song. If from what I
It is.
remember,
Yeah, it is a great tune. Slower
yeah.
track, but a great tune. And then just while you're searching for it, another thing I was wondering about, and I have a feeling that maybe you might have covered this before, Jamie. I have listened to all the other pods, um, but I don't know why it just dawned on me the other day. I was thinking about the names of the albums and title tracks. And I think you
Okay.
may have discussed it on one of your pods when you got into Man Machine Poem, because you were referencing that on Now for Plan A, there's a song called Man Machine Poem. Yet
I
on the
seem to
song,
recall that too. Yeah.
yeah, but then on the album Man Machine Poem, there's a song called Man, and there's a song called Machine, but there's nothing called Poem or Man Machine Poem. And so I went through it yesterday, and fully completely, Music at Work, World Container, and Now for Plan A are the only albums that have title tracks. And in Phantom Power, in the song Something On, there's a line that says Blackout to Phantom Power. But
Oh
that's the only
right.
reference to the name of the album, you know. So, I mean, again, I mentioned I'm not a musician. I know there's a lot of musicians. You're a musician, Jamie. Sarah, I don't know if you are.
I'm hardly a
But
musician.
I don't know if there's a rule when you're a musician about title tracks and non-title tracks, like to have them or not to have them, or what steers the rudder of the ship when you're trying to figure that out.
For
Any
me
insight?
it would be completely like philosophical. It would be like
Okay.
Hmm.
it would vary not only from band to band, but it would vary from like player to player in the band. Some people would be like, fuck man, we're calling this record Now for Plan A, and there's not a song called Now for Plan A. Yes there is, but I'm just
Yeah.
hyper hyper
Yeah.
being hypothetical. So that's my perspective.
Hypothetical.
What about you, Sarah?
That's how I feel about it too. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what you said. I don't need to reiterate exactly what you said. It's, 100%.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
take it for what it's
Well,
worth, but
that'd
that's what we think.
be nice. Next, if you get an inside track to the band members, next time you have a chat with one of them, Jamie, I'd be curious. I don't know. Like I'm you know, just one of those things that made me go,
Interesting.
Things that make you
yeah,
go,
right?
Well,
yeah.
those are fun questions to ask for sure. Definitely a fun thing to keep in your back pocket and
Yeah,
pick somebody's brain about, because it would be interesting to see what the difference in answer would be across the board too.
Yeah, I would love
totally.
that.
Yeah,
Gosh.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
shit like that. Thanks so much for bringing that up, Jeff. I'm the nerd that has those kind of notes and thoughts and things too. So
That's
I love it.
awesome.
Well, even when you
I
think of
love it.
album artwork and how sometimes album artwork like completely fits with the title of the record and sometimes it's very obtuse, like it doesn't
Oh
make as
yeah.
much sense.
In Violet
Hmm.
Light is a great album cover artwork for the title. It's like a purple, crane or a blue heron, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it, on a lake, seemingly when the sun is rising. You've got phantom power, which is the picture of. Uh, I remember the story of it. I'm not a musician, but I believe that musical instrument or control panel, the make was phantom power, maybe, or it's called phantom power. That device, the picture with all the dials and gauges on the front of the album, and that's the name of the
Sarah's got
title.
a story
So
about it. Sarah J's got a story about it, I'm pretty sure.
that's
It's
it.
If you want to share it.
the modular, isn't it, for like the old aircraft? And it's my understanding that Johnny has a habit of buying things and figuring out how they work later. Is what I've heard. I don't know where I picked up that bit of information, and
Probably
so
the book.
apparently I think it probably was all the shit I've been reading, and he bought this, and yeah, and then it just wound up hanging out at the bathhouse. So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But
like
like
it.
You were
Zangit
talking
says,
about albums and them mentioning the album name, and that happens on In Violet Light too. It happens in Silver Jet
oh,
also.
right. Yes. There's
The
a
Yep.
hymn
silver jet
outside. Yeah.
in
Yep.
violet light. That's right. Totally
Yep.
describes the cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
call.
that whole part right there does it. Just like completely describes the cover and everything too. So yeah.
Love it. Yeah, totally true.
Yeah.
He just has a way of weaving things so well, Gordy, as a writer. Eh,
Yeah.
nuts.
Agreed. One of a kind.
Yeah,
One of a kind.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could remember what song it was or the lyric, but the second time I saw them was 1992 in Kingston at Richardson Stadium, which is the football stadium for the Queen's University football team. Um,
Okay.
and and it was a phenomenal concert. Uh, it was right. It was in September, actually, right before I left for my first year of university. And we went up. We drove up. I'm from Belleville, which is 45 minutes down the road from Kingston. So we drove up for the concert, and it was shitty weather, and it started raining, and they had 4x8 sheets of plywood all over the field, the whole football field, to protect the field. And as the rain started to come down, everybody started moving off the wood and holding it up like in groups of like 7 or 8.
Oh my
And
God.
they had to stop the concert and ask everyone to put them back down, or they wouldn't keep going. So whatever, we did. We just got wet. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, that was a side story. Apologize. How we, Easter eggs, is I've heard them referred to a lot. But back at that concert, I remember him, going into rants mid song or dropping little eggs or saying little things in between songs that showed up in albums and songs a decade plus later, which is amazing.
I was just going to say this about the Buffalo shows. I have so many notes where I was listening to stuff, and then I would hear something in the middle of a jam, and I'm like, wait a minute, when did this song come out? And I'm like, oh my God, this song didn't come out until 5 years after this show. And I'm like writing it down. I'm like, oh my God. So I've been finding all that in these Buffalo shows. So fun.
I always call them breadcrumbs. And I think the hip were so great at breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
looked like
listened
a little
to
rodent there for a second.
For sure. Like, leading the little trail to the treasure. Oh, I love it. I have so many notes like that for Buffalo shows.
It's mind-boggling. Have either of you listened to the I believe it's 1988 Grand Central concert? It's up in Ottawa. Grand Central's a bar known for concerts up in Ottawa, downtown Ottawa.
I don't think I have.
So it was. I had that bootleg. That was one of the ones I got back in the early '90s, and I think mine said it was a 1987 show. But when I went onto the Hip archive, I finally found it, and it was an '88 show. Regardless, amazing track list. This is before Up to Here and Road Apples, so it's all like a lot of covers and cool old originals. But one of the things back in '88, he's just about to start a song, and he started a little rant, and he's like, interstate brick face, pardon me. And that shows up in on in it as a lyric in a song on Phantom Power. Like,
What?
yeah, interstate
Wow,
brick
that
face and
far
coffee
away?
mate and buy a list of phone calls you like to make. Damn this sleepy
Wow.
weather, he said. Anyway, sorry, I'm going on with the lyrics, but
No, that's
yeah,
cool.
that was like 1988. He drops a line, during a show. Interstate Brickface, he says. And then it shows up in his song on Phantom Power, which was
10 years later.
Yeah.
98. It was 98. You're right.
Yeah.
10 years
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
He sat on that for a
Yeah.
fucking decade.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sarah, to your point about how you're going through the Buffalo shows, seeing all these things, yeah, I've just recently kind of discovered the Hip Archive. And so I've got a list of the shows that I've been to. And same deal. Like I've been going back and listening to some of them. He doesn't have Miller. Sorry, what's his name again? Jamie.
Darren?
Darren.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
John
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Mitchell?
no, Aaron. You're right. I'm getting Mojo Pa mixed up with the Hip Archive. My bad.
That's cool.
Yes,
That's cool.
Darren.
Yeah.
Darren, great guy. So what was I trying to say? I was talking about
You were talking
bounce
about
all
going
over the
back and
place.
listening to your shows.
Yeah. So it's mind-boggling because I've been going back and listening to the shows that I've been to, and so you're probably doing the same thing. But you hear a line, and you're like, "Wait a minute! I was at a fully completely show." And you think about the line that he threw in there. I'm like, I got to Google that show, and doesn't like the album doesn't get released for like 2 or 3 years later, which is. But in the time when you're there watching the show, you don't get it. Like it doesn't register. All you're thinking is like, oh man, that's a cool line, or that's a cool rant, or this little song that he's doing. I wonder what that's all about. And years pass and you completely forget about it, and it comes out as an actual recorded track on a future album. And I don't know how many times I rewatch or re-listen to these shows. I'm like, I had no idea that they played that at that show. So it's like a trip down memory lane. It's super cool whether you went to the show or not. Going through all the Buffalo ones. Um, it's super neat. It just takes you on such a side loop, right? Like, what year did this? I'm typing. What year was the release date for this album and this one? So anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I get
I
hip
had that
excited and
experience with
ramble.
my first show.
Love it.
I had that
What's
experience with
that?
my first show, and it was uh, July 24th, 1993, Markham Fairgrounds. I looked at the set list, and they played Get Back Again in the encore. And I was
What?
like, what in the fuck? How do I
No
not
way.
remember that? How do I not remember that? Nutty.
Yes, I agree. It's crazy, but what a treat to have the Hip Archive and those shows all in one place where you
Yeah.
can go back and do that and have those moments. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I'm
Relive
I'm
them.
loving it.
I love it so much. I love it so, so much. Such a nerd for it.
Yeah, same
David,
here.
what did you notice? David in the chat, what did you notice? Sorry. Sorry, gang. I just want to.
Oh,
You definitely noticed this, but I'm unsure of what that was
well,
exactly.
I'm guessing that when he's listening to shows on the archive or whatever, that he's hearing little things that he'd forgotten about that shows up in future albums.
That's
He's
what
Maybe.
gonna
we were
say.
talking about.
He's gonna
Yeah, yeah.
say, yeah. Excellent.
I am
Amazing.
starting to see those things. It's just I think I need a new either a bigger screen or new
New
spectacles.
glasses.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe a magnifying glass.
Well, I think that's what we've got for you for this week. We can do a little preview for tomorrow, I suppose. Song number 36 is going to be released tomorrow at 4 a.m. Uh, it will be a sit down including myself and Dave from St. Louis. So it's going to be a
Ooh,
good one.
St. Louis.
We had a great conversation. We actually had two conversations because the first one just didn't work out. So we had to speak a second time. And it was
Oh,
wonderful
damn.
getting to know him again because he came to the event last year all the way from St. Louis.
That's cool.
It's pretty exciting. And I'm very excited to say the event takes place in October, and we have now sold 7 tickets,
Yay.
including somebody coming from the UK and 2 people coming from Oregon. And everybody who's coming locally, that's fucking great too. But I just think it's crazy town that this little podcast, people are coming out and hanging out with hip fans. That's pretty exciting to me.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome time. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think so too. Do you have anything you want to follow up with or finish up with, Jeff?
No.
Final thoughts?
Super. So from now on, if I want to jump on, I should send you an email before this starts, and then I can join in.
No, I'll send you a link going forward. I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I just gotta get it all together.
I think I just open it up and touch a button to join. I'm like, what's going on? How do we get in? I'll get better.
This was
fun.
No,
nothing. Just this is great, and I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
And we're gonna do it again next week. And next week's topic will be song number 36. And I'm going to do a little rant this week about live hip songs. So I want to know what your favorite live hip song is for next week. So think about that. Okay. It doesn't have to be well, no, it probably will be a specific show. You know, it'll be somebody saying June 18th, 27 or 2007 in Niagara Falls. Sugar Inn Falls was fucking the best thing I've ever heard.
Keep it on the Falls theme.
I know, he just went all the way with it.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to riff here.
I love it. I love it.
All right, I'll add it to the homework.
All right. Awesome. Peace out, everybody. Cool. Thanks for stopping by.
Okay, see you guys. Nice chatting with you. Thank you.
Next week.